What's up, Drop Pod listeners? As always, you can listen to the Drop Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Pods. We are now on Apple Music, Audible, and Pandora as well. New episodes drop every Wednesday. You can also find all of our content on YouTube at the Drop Golf Podcast and on our socials. That's Instagram and Twitter at the Drop_pod. No matter how you consume us, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Follow and listen along.
This episode is brought to you by the Law Office of Mallon and Tranger. Tom Mallon and Randy Tranger are board-certified trial attorneys who share more than 40 years of legal experience. They specialize in personal injury matters, workers' compensation cases, and criminal and municipal defense. As certified trial attorneys, they have recovered millions of dollars on behalf of people injured in accidents and employees injured at work. They have offices conveniently located in Freehold and Point Pleasant. For skilled and personalized legal representation, call Mallon and Tranger at 732-780-0230 or check out their website at tmallonlaw.com. Not only are they good people, they're good golfers too. This is the Drop Podcast where we talk golfing in the Garden State. I'm Mike Porro, and this is Ryan Coulott.
What's up, everyone? Hope you guys all had a great week. We're back, right? It's both Mike and I on the pod this week. We're excited to be here. But before we get into the stuff we got to talk about, make sure you stay on afterwards and listen to our guest. This week's guest is Austin Devereux. Austin is a two-time MAC individual champion, a four-time All-MAC selection, the 2020 NJSGA Amateur Champion. He's currently working as a Director of Outside Operations at Manasquan River. But maybe most importantly, he was Mike's partner for the 4-ball, in case you didn't recognize that name. So make sure you stick around, give Austin a listen to. He gives us some great insight, some stories, and maybe even a little bit of dirt on Mike. So stick around, listen to what he has to say. All right, Mike, welcome back.
Thanks, pal.
I know we were talking off air. I know we kind of touched upon, or I kind of touched upon it last week. Give us your thoughts on the inaugural Women's NJ Open.
Yeah, listen, I was following along and seeing the names that were in there. You know, I know that you had Ami on, and she came and talked about amazing things. Her little, app that she has that you're able to, like, figure all your stats out analytic-wise is, like, right up my alley. I saw she was in contention. I saw Katie Lou was up there. We kind of crossed paths with her at the Cognizant.
Yep.
I saw Riley Plitz was in the mix, finishing with a T15. Like, there was so many names that, one way or another that we crossed paths with. So I just felt like it was like, my duty to keep a close eye to see how things were going. And then, as things were winding down, you kind of saw that, Megan Francella, kind of just held on for dear life towards the end there. And, kind of withstood his charge from Ami to win the inaugural. And, I think, like a lot of things, I think it was past due that the women's had their own Open Championship. I know the year that we live in is 2023, so you kind of talk about evolving a little bit. And finally, having something like this for women that they're able to compete against like-minded people at a great golf course at Montclair Golf Club. So, it sounded like the event went off extremely smooth. It was obviously very, very close. I mean, Megan only won by one shot over Ami. She only beat Alexis by 2. And there was a boatload of people there within 5 shots. So a great, great event. It's going to be something that, Megan's going to be able to look back for years to come and say she was the first one to get her name on that trophy. And I'm sure a lot of these other girls and women that played in are dying to get their name etched in that stone as well.
Yeah, absolutely they are. And Mike, I know I talked about it last week, and I know you listened. That second day scoring, for me, it just shows how good those, like, it really separated the good players from the great players. So I think anyone that's playing in there is a good player. But when you have what I think it was 9 rounds in the 70s, and everybody else was over that, it really shows that the course played really tough, and those women went out and, as you say, golfed their golf ball.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, Ami Ami's second round, or in a sense, the final round 73 was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure if she looks back to her round one and doesn't make, I saw she had made a double later in her round that first day. I take that back. In the final round, she made a double. She looks at that double that she made in that final round. Who knows what could have happened? But like anything, dude, yeah, I counted 10 rounds that were in the 70s the final day. And I think that's one thing that the average golfer just doesn't realize is when you're put in pressure situations and every putt matters and every shot matters, you get tight and you tense up and mistakes happen. And that's competitive golf. And when you're not in that environment and that world and that arena often, and then you throw yourself in there, crazy, weird things happen.
Right, for sure they do. How overdue is this?
Yeah, I think it's way overdue. Because
I had said to myself, it's way overdue. But is it 20 years overdue? Is it 30 years overdue?
No, that's too many. I would say it's too many.
So, because I was shocked when you first brought this up a couple weeks ago. I was blown away that the women didn't have their own Open. I mean, it's stunning to me that it's 2023 and they didn't have it. Especially with it's not like women's golf in New Jersey isn't something that's been around for a while. I mean, I can understand if let me rephrase. Not that I could understand it, but if it wasn't like we were pumping out great women's golfers on the regular, college golfers that can compete at this, or then okay, maybe there's not a forum or it's not big enough, but we do that. Right? We have women from all over the state go play in college, and this should have happened again, a while ago.
Yeah, I think also part of it is you got to find a sponsor that's willing to pony up the money, because that's also it's a business to some extent, and if they're not going to get people involved, it's hard to come up with a purse for an event. I think that's another catalyst behind maybe why this did not happen, because I agree. It's not like we don't have the clientele. The golfer is there. Okay. The scores show that the women that have gone through, the girls that have gone on to college, it's here. There's no doubt about it. But I think sometimes for us that we see it on a smaller scale as to why it isn't there, but we're not involved in the day-to-day, the business side of it. Can you get someone to sponsor that event? But, thankfully the NJSGA found somebody. And the event sounded like it was a home run. And all you can hope for is moving forward is that it just continues to grow, continues to get better. But yeah, I think it is kind of overdue in terms of how long. I guess that's a debate that you can have, but I would say it's overdue. Yeah. 5 years, 10 years, I don't know, but I'm glad it's gotten to the point now where there is one, there will be one, and we'll be able to continue to showcase, the amazing women that we have here in New Jersey.
Yeah, it's almost like better late than never, right? Let's correct our mistakes. You always hear let's get rid of a bad investment. It's before it keeps going down, right? Not that we're doing that here, but let's rectify this now as opposed to waiting any longer, kind of thing. So again, congrats to Megan Francella on her win, and as I said last week, to our girls that we've interacted with on there that played, Nick, congrats to you as well.
Matera's Italian Market and Catering Company is located in the heart of Rutherford, New Jersey, at 72 Park Avenue, and has everything you need for an authentic Italian table. Recently celebrating its 10-year anniversary, Matera's Italian Market brings all your senses alive as you walk in the door. Imported retail products, cheeses and cold cuts, freshly baked bread, and the creamiest fresh mozzarella. All can be ordered on the Matera's On Park app in Apple and Google stores. Above the market, a private space called The Loft can be reserved for intimate family parties all the way to corporate events. So give them a follow on Instagram at Matera's Italian Market. Stop by and say ciao. Matera's, you'll walk in a stranger, leave as family.
Next week we got the NJ State Am coming up at Manasquan River. Mike and I have talked. I know he's mentioned it. This is one of the 4 majors in New Jersey golf. It's at Manasquan River. Mike's played a practice round here or there at Manasquan. So we're gonna deep dive the field and some things here with Manasquan. So, Mike, the tee sheet came out yesterday or the day before. There's some big groups, and I think we should start with the heaviest hitting group for us, right? The 12 o'clock time going off on hole 1 at Manasquan River. Pat Wilson, Jack Wall, Will Celebrity.
Big names.
Those are
names.
Those are 3 big names, but we've had them all on, and maybe we'll get to a point where that won't be as crazy to me as it is. But right now, that's pretty crazy to me.
Yeah, it's funny because I saw the tee sheet, and I was texting with Brad Barton. He's the NJSGA tournament director, and he kind of jokingly said to me, "How about those pairings?" And I said, "Load it." Load it, because when you scroll up and down it, and I guess to rewind a little bit, like we've always said, like our goal is to be the hub for all things golfing in the Garden State, and I think when you look at kind of like where we are now in like the short term, and you see this tee sheet, like we can say on so many occasions, oh, we've had this person on, we had that person on, we had this person on, they're going to be a guest coming on, and it's like one after another, and then this sheet comes out, and it's like, wow, do you see these pairings? Because there's so many that are loaded, and I think that's what is going to make this tournament truly special, is because you have so many phenomenal golfers, and in my eyes, at such a phenomenal golf course, that I'm dying to see how things play out. I truly am.
There's some big hitters, and obviously there's some people who we may not know, or some people who that I don't recognize. But I mean, you got all the people that we've talked about or talked to, and then there's other people on here who just have been in all these tournaments. Maybe they haven't won any, but like they're names that you constantly come across on here, and it's just a loaded field. It really is.
It is, and it's crazy because whoever wins, you can guarantee that probably one of the first DMs they receive is from us asking you, "Ready? When do you want to come on the show?" Like that'll be one of the first things that happens. Yeah. Because I would love to hear what they thought, how they played, everything about the entire tournament from beginning to end, and you really could go through the entire thing and say, oh, yeah, I think he's got a really good chance, and I think he's got a great chance too, because you got guys that are not only members and very, very familiar with the place, from like Jack to Mike Stamberger to Jerry Wall. I mean, we could go on and on. Chris Housen. To then you got guys that are on the outside that, like, we just talked to Jack Simon a couple weeks ago. Like, he's itching to get down there and play. Like, Troy Vanucci's like, dying to chomping at the bit for his first win. Like, Michael Brown's looking for another one. Like, you got Austin, our guest, is on. Like, it is like never ending, right, in terms of like big time names. And if you're able to win this tournament with this field at this course, like, again, like I'm dying. I wish it was one of those things that we were able to watch this thing live.
Yeah, it would be awesome. I would think that the NJSGA would live stream one of them. They did at Deal. They did Troy's group that first day. It was like Troy and Pat, and I'm blanking on the third, but I feel like that was also one of our guys too. But either way, like that day was, they live streamed it for a while on that day. Listen, it's really going to be awesome. As you said, there's a bunch of guys from Manasquan that are playing, and I'll tell you, I keep going back and forth with this. I wonder if the pressure of winning at your own club is quantifiably, like we talk about the pressure that you have in like a tournament or a final round, but like Like if Austin or Jack are in one of the final groups and up near the top of the leaderboard on the last day, does that pressure of playing and winning at your home course, does that get to you at all? Or does that, like, not get to you, but is that a quantifiably, like, you're nervous anyway? It's got to make you more nervous, right? I guess that's what I'm trying to say. It's got to be. It's got to be like. But I'm saying, how much more nervous are you? Are you nervous?
Way more.
Like twice as
way
nervous?
More. Oh yeah, I think you're way more, because it's not only the home course. You got to listen to everybody say, the golf course in and out. You probably got members walking around watching you because they're rooting for you to win because you're part of their club. There's so much more that goes into it, where if I'm an outsider, there's really no expectations.
Yeah.
No one's really following me, maybe some family and a significant other, if they're even there.
Right.
Right? So there's nobody that's really, the pressure's not on you. It'd be more on Jack, Austin, Mike Stamberger, those types of guys that know the golf course. So with anything, you're going to get the pros and cons of that. You're going to get the support, but then you're going to also get the pressure. You're going to get the ins and outs of the golf course, but that also means you have the ins and outs of the golf course. Like, there's so many things that goes into play there. But listen, it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. Do you have a prediction on what you think? Obviously, the way the tournament goes is they play 18 holes on Monday. They play 18 holes on Tuesday. Then there's a cut. Okay, then there's a cut. If you're within the cut, then you play 36 on Wednesday. Do you have a prediction?
I got some thoughts. I don't know if this is going to equate to a prediction. I know you're a hardline guy. You want me to say one person's name, and maybe I'll.
I do.
And maybe
I do want to. I would love to know. I would love to know who your one person is and their score.
Yeah, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to give you that. Obviously, I think I feel like that amount of golf is easier for someone who's younger to play that kind of grueling schedule for a younger guy.
Don't tell that to Michael Brown.
And I was just going to say, I know that Michael we just had him on, and he just contradicted me. But I would put, if I had to put like a list of like who I'd put at the end, I'd put Michael, I'd put Troy, I would put obviously Jack. You can't not put Jack there. Jack and Pat, I think, are in the running as well. Austin, you got to put in the running as well. Again, just knowing the course, you got to think that these guys are going to at least be making the cuts with knowing the course and being the kind of players that they are. Let's see. Another name I really like, Jack Sirkanich. I think that's one that I could see him making the cut. As well, your guy Chris Housen. Again, I think that kind of takes out that younger person. Wouldn't shock me if Chris made the cut. A guy that I believe he made the cut at the Mid-Am was Eric Lafante. I wonder if he makes a run here, kind of originally from this area, so I wonder if he can do that. But again, those are just I don't know I don't know how you could quantify like the betting favorites coming in here or anything like that. But yeah, those are some of mine. Honestly, if you wanted one person, like gun to my head, who's going to win this? Jack's going to win this. I think that
Jack Wall.
I think that he.
What's his score?
What's his score? I've never played the course. Have I mentioned that to you?
No.
So I don't know.
Not once. Not once.
So I don't know what I would think that he's shooting 67, 68 for 4 rounds of golf. I think that would be a good average for him. So what's that? 4 under? 3 under.
Yeah, so I guess my question really is I don't know if Manasquan is going to be playing as a par 72 or as a par 71 for the tournament, because I do know, now I take that back. I literally just texted Chris Dimmick as we're live here, and he said they're playing it as a par 72. So,
okay.
Because number 5 could be moved to a par 4 and moved up and make it just a really long par 4. But it's going to be playing as a par 72. So you have Jack Wall winning at what, minus what overall?
I think overall he's going to go so I would imagine on average he's going to go 3 or 4 under each day. So or each time, so each 18. So 3, 6, 9, 12. That's 12 under, and that's way too much. So let me recalculate my math here. 70 is 2, 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, I could buy 8 under for 4 days or 4 rounds. I'd go in that like maybe even that 6 to 9 range under. That would probably be my guess. But again, kind of going I think Jack has the home course advantage, right? And I don't know if obviously some other guys like Austin knows the course like the back of his hand. But Jack grew up on the course. You look at I go to the Batman Batman with the Dark Knight. Like Bane says, right? I was born into darkness. You just adopted it.
You adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it.
I kind of feel like that's there. Jack grew up on the course. Jack was born into Manasquan River. Austin has since adopted it. Again, I don't want to seem that negative about it, but Jack's been playing that course since he could walk. He's a stud college golfer who plays in multiple round tournaments all year round. He's younger, so his body's in better shape for it. Did I mention he's a stud college golfer? I just think that for me, I think all those signs are pointing to Jack being the winner here. And again, that's not to say that I wouldn't be shocked by somebody else, but I know that I know Michael Brown talked about Troy is definitely going to get one of these at some point. Is this the one he gets? I don't know, but for me, I give the leg up to Jack for knowing the course. I just, why do I give it to Jack over Austin? I'm glad you asked. Again, I think that Austin's a phenomenal golfer. I'm sure he's playing and practicing, but he's not playing and practicing like he did in college. I'm sure he's not putting that kind of time in that Jack puts in. And that's just because Jack's doing it in college. They're constantly practicing and playing. So I don't, again, I just give the nod there to the guy who is more immersed in it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, I think it's probably hard for anybody to argue that Jack isn't.
I'm sorry to cut you off. And
no, you're not.
I also think that because of the caliber and the high-level pressure situations that Jack has been in, I don't know if him winning at Manasquan is going to be the pressure that we initially started talking about to him. Or I think he'll be able to handle it.
Yeah, no, listen, it's hard to argue. I think if you listed the top 20 guys that have a chance of winning, I don't know how Jack would not be in probably the top 5. I don't. I mean, his resume, his ability, it's just hard to argue. His familiarity with the golf course. There's too many variables that support Jack winning, which is why, to me, that's too obvious. I don't think Jack gets it done.
Okay.
And I think that's why I hope I'm wrong, and I hope you're right, but I think if anybody has the pressure on them, more so than any other person in the entire field, it's Jack.
100%.
Which is why I don't think he gets it done. Because you're that kid that grew up at Manasquan River. you ended up playing big time collegiate golf. Like, you played at Texas Tech. You've done all these amazing things. Like, you grew up right there on the 11th hole. Like, to me, like, I feel like that's so much burden to carry that I think that kind of holds him back a little bit. And I do think that I don't think Jack wins. I don't.
So
if you're asking me to
for
pick
the
somebody.
same reasons that I think Jack is going to win, you think he's not going to win. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I do. I just think you're asking too much of the kid who grew up there to then carry the torch.
So I only will say this. I think sometimes, you know how like the young team that's really good ends up winning the championship? Like I look at the Cubs in 2016. They were young and dumb and didn't really fully understand or appreciate. They were just good and just went out there and had fun. I wonder, or I hope, I guess, in my thinking, that Jack is young enough to be a little more like cavalier with it.
Which, listen, and everything you say, there's no doubt you could get behind and be like, yeah, how did you not see that coming? You're 100% right. I can't argue that point. I just find it hard to believe with everything going that he finds a way to get it done. I also don't think the scores are going to be as high as or as low, however you want to phrase it, as you think they are. I would say I'd be stunned if someone finished the tournament -6 or better. I think it's going to be below that.
You think it's going to be like closer to even?
No, I'd say somewhere between like 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to sniff 8, 9, 10. I'd be stunned.
Well, hold on. There we go. You got 3, 4, 5. I got 6, 7, 8.
Yeah. I would be stunned knowing that golf course, how hard it is playing, how good the greens are, that someone's going to have the ability after 4 days of playing it to sit at 7, 8, 9, and even sniff double digits. No shot. I find that I have, in a sense, too much faith in the golf course over the golfers to think that ultimately, when it's all said and done, the golf course will win in respect to what the overall score is as to what the winner shoots.
Gotcha. All right. How about this? I just had this idea. We should go through, because after 2 days, right, they cut it to 16? Or what's the cut? How many people make the cut?
I don't know. I don't know that. It's normally like top something and ties get in.
Okay.
So they might just cut it in half. They might take 60%. I forget what it is.
Okay. I was thinking it was like the mid-am where it got to match play, so you had 16.
Nah.
And I was going to say, let's go through some names. Let's have you pick names, I'll pick names, and then what we should do is have this randomly pick names. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do 10 names that make the cut. You pick 10, I pick 10, and we'll put all the names in a generator, we'll wheel it around and have that pick 10 and see which one does better. What are your thoughts?
Work on it.
Okay. I don't know if I'm going to sleep tonight then, but okay. It's a lot of... how many people are in the field, do you know?
Not off the top of my head, I don't.
So who do you have winning it? You asked me prediction. Who you got? You said it. You said 3 or 4 under is going to win it.
Yep. I would say, I'm going to guess, if you ask me what my number is, I'm going to say Austin Devereux wins at -5.
Okay.
I do. I think to what you said in terms of like, there's no pressure on Austin. I feel like he's flying under the radar. He's now taken on a job at the golf course where that kind of distracts him from the everyday grind in terms of like what some of these other guys are doing. He's not sitting there grinding over his golf swing all the time, and we all know how mental the game of golf is. So he's less worried in that sense. He knows the golf course inside and out, so I don't feel like he needs to worry about like, all right, if I miss it a little right on one, what's going to go on? He knows all of it. And I just think, dude, there's something about his little mentality that like he's got that chip on his shoulder. He's got that bulldog mentality. I've got to see it firsthand. I just think there's something about him, and that's why I kept saying, like, getting him on right before this tournament.
He's going to be important.
It's going to be like a grand slam.
Mm-hmm.
It's a walk-off.
Yeah.
And when he wins at -5, and you have to come back on the show, and you got to listen to me rant and rave for probably the entire thing, you know, I might just show up with a king's crown.
Hold on. Now, you could certainly show up with a king's crown. If Austin wins this at 5 under, and not only have I lost the person and I lost the score, I'm still popping champagne. It's not like I don't want Austin to win this. I love those reasons
that's my
too.
guess.
And I would tell you this as well. I would put Austin in my, like, if I had to pick like a Mount Rushmore, 4 people who I think legitimately have to win it, Austin is in that. If I had to go to a top 3, Austin's in that as well. For exactly that reason. And I try not to be like, these are our guys kind of thing. Mm-hmm. To be fair, and I'm just looking at his name. I don't know who Adrian Jordan from Cobblestone Creek Country Club is. He could be an absolute stick. I have no idea. These are guys that I know.
If Adrian wins, he's coming on the show, and we'll introduce ourselves.
That will introduce ourselves. But like, these are guys that I know, and I do also. Austin's attitude of like, okay, like it rolls like water off a duck's ass. Like it just is going to just bead off, and he's not going to deal with the pressure. Or, I would. Again, he would be that one. You wanted one. I said Jack. You went Austin. I think the same thing for you. I think you'd put Jack in your top 3 as well.
Yeah, listen. It's hard to argue against Jack, and it's hard to argue against all the guys that have that course knowledge that other people don't, because I think that carries a lot of weight at this golf course. I do. But I do think that when you look outside of the Manasquan River bubble in terms of like what guys have a legit chance, like I thought you named a lot of good ones, like Troy.
We didn't even like Anthony Campanile. Right. Like there's a few guys I know from that play out a deal. You've talked about Jack Irons, like guys that we didn't even mention.
Yeah,
they could like
that are playing good golf.
That are playing great golf, right? So there's.
I mean, listen, to Jack Irons' credit, he just finished runner-up at the Delaware State Am.
Right.
So like he's playing good golf. Mm-hmm. So like there's no doubt you got Troy, you got Jack, you got a lot of guys outside the Manasquan River bubble. Like I was saying, I mean, it's not an overly long golf course. It'll play just under 7,100 yards, but like Michael Brown's got a legit chance. I know you're going to say like, okay, he's on the older side, but the dude knows how to play. You know, like there's just so many guys. Doug Ergood from Tavistock, like they all know what they're doing. And I wouldn't be surprised if a guy like even Brandon Dolinka puts it together. Like Eric LaFonte, like there's so many names that I guess I can't say that, oh yeah, he won it, not surprised. But it'll definitely be something. But I guess if you're taking, you know, you want my prediction, I'm going Austin -5, and I do not think the winner is anywhere above -5.
All right, so I got Jack at -6. There you go.
Equity 3 Real Estate is a full-service commercial real estate brokerage, management, and development company based out of Paramus, New Jersey. Equity 3 Real Estate focuses heavily in northern New Jersey. They cover industrial, multifamily, office, retail, and vacant land properties, as well as specializing in medical offices. They manage over 400,000 square feet of varying property types for passive investors. Their clients range from small to mid-range building owners and larger brokerages. So if you're looking for the right team to help you win, go check them out at www.equity3re.com or give them a call at 201-261-4300. That's 201-261-4300. You won't be disappointed.
Now I'm going to go to your little expertise here, and I want you to keep talking. We're going to keep talking about Manasquan here. We got predictions, we got pairings. I want to talk about the course a little bit. Or let me rephrase. I want you to talk about the course a little bit, because I don't know if I've mentioned I've never played the course.
You've never played there?
What is needed at this course? You just said it's going to top out at 7,100, so you don't need to be terribly long. Are the par threes super long? Is that what's going to make it longer? Is it a is it a ball striker's course? You said the greens are rolling beautifully, so putting's going to be at a premium. What is it that's going to take these guys to win this tournament? What is needed from someone who's A, played the course a zillion and a half times, B, a guy that's caddied there for years, C, a guy that plays in these tournaments? What is it going to take to win this tournament?
I think the winner will have played 15 through 18 the best the entire week. I think those 4 finishing holes there can make or break your round. 1 through 14, listen, I could see someone playing really good golf and being 3 or 4 under going into those holes. I do. I mean, the front 9 is, I would say, more target golf. You got to hit the fairways. It's way more undulation. It's up, it's down. There's a lot of uphill second shots. There's a lot of downhill second shots. It's a lot about placement, where you want to hit the ball.
There's side lies.
The front 9.
On the front?
Yeah, a lot of
okay.
You're going to hit it.
So it's more hit your numbers. Get your number.
It's target golf on the front. You got to find the right spots, find the right numbers. But with that being said, you have the ability to go low. Like, if you get in the right spots, like, you could go 2 under on the front 9 with no questions asked. And then even 10's a good solid par 4. But then you got 11. It's straight down the hill, par 5. Like, I won't be surprised with eagles being made there. They can rip the ball down there. They can get close in 2. But I think the difference is those last 4.
I would think that they would be. I would think that that 13th hole. So I know I give you a hard time. I've played in the times I've played 13, 14, 15, and 16 are the holes that I've played at Manasquan. For that, it's like a mini outing kind of thing. But 13, I would think that's going to play under par, because I think they're going to throw the ball so far down that hill and let it roll that they're going to have.
That's 11. You're thinking 11, the par 5?
The par 5. What did I say? 13?
11.
Sorry,
11
is
13.
what I meant.
11.
I think it's going to be so far down the hill that they're going to be able to go at the. You're not attacking flags with 3, 4, 5 irons or woods. I think they'd be attacking it with maybe 6, but 7, 8, 9 iron on a par 5. I would think that eagle is going to be premium there. Birdies.
Listen, I won't be surprised if eagles are made on 11. I won't be. But also the thing with 11 is, if you don't know how the hole is played, that's going to play into it. Because if you think you're going to fly the ball to the green, it's going to end up over the green. Mm-hmm. And if you're not landing the ball 15 yards short of the green, you're going to end up over the green. And if that pin is tucked left and you're right of the mound, good luck two putting, even if you're on the green. Good luck. It's like an elephant's hump right in the middle of the green. So like the greens, and I think, are the defense of the golf course. So like, yes, in terms of the number, like, yeah, they could hit 7, 8, 9 irons into the green. Some of them, sure. If they hit it, they bomb it, no doubt. But that's not going to help you when you're on the greens and you still have a 30-footer over a mound because you missed it on the wrong side of the green. But I think that's why I said, like, going into 15, I could see somebody being 4 under. And then coming into 15, it's going to play 2 1/4 over the water. If you miss it left, you never cross land. You're still in the water. You're going to have to re-tee. The bailout is way right because you don't want to miss it left and dump it in the drink. You'll have even people just lay up just to get it over the water so they don't make a big number there.
What hole is this?
15, the par 3. It's going to play probably 2 1/4. You got water all on the left-hand side. And if you're playing well going into it, like, the last thing you want to do is make a big number. So you got 15 right there. Then you got 16, the par 4, slight dogleg right. You got a waist bunker on the right side. It plays a little bit uphill. It's probably going to be stretched out to about 450. So, like, your second shot over the creek, going uphill, like, don't miss it left, don't miss it long, you know. And again, pending where the pin is, if you miss it right, good luck. Then it's all right. You get to 16, and I will say this: the best walk on the entire golf course, when you walk from 16's green to 17's tee box, you end up on 17's tee box, and you look at that hole. That's going to play 430, 440. You got a waist bunker on the left side. You pull it a little bit left, forget about it. You got out of bounds on the right side. Again, you got to hit a perfect drive into a tough green that like has a false front. You got to make sure you carry it. But again, in the middle of 17's green, you got a huge hump. Not easy to deal with, depending on where the pin is. And then you'll look at 18, you'll say 18, oh, well, it's only 330, 340 from the back tees, not a big deal. You got 3 bunkers on the left-hand side that if you pull it a little bit, you're in a fairway bunker. Okay, you got a tree on the right side that you got to make sure, again, it's precision. And then you got a 2-tiered green that if you miss it long, good luck 2-putting. Good luck. And if that pin is front right, good luck. Good luck. So I think those last 4 holes, I think that's what's going to come down. You're going to see someone say, I played the last 4 holes the best the entire week, which is why I won the golf tournament.
16 a par 5. Are those, so you said 15's a par 3, 16's a par 4, 17, is that a par 4 or par 5?
All par 4s, yeah.
All
it
par
goes
4s.
3, 4, 4. There's only 3 par 5s and 3 par 3s.
Okay.
So on the back it's 1 and 1, and on the front it's 2 and 2.
Are is on 18, what's your suggestion on 18? At 350, you're gonna
5
rip driver?
wood right center. 5 wood right center.
So just stay short of those bunkers?
Yep. Because it's only going to leave you probably about 150 yards or so in. Even if you want to pump 3 wood out there to right center, that's fine. But to me, like,
but why take 3 wood and bring the traps into play?
Numbers. It depends on your number. If you prefer having a number in that you are more comfortable with, then you're going to hit 3 wood because you like 120 instead of 150.
Right, but 150's got to be 9-iron max for these guys. It could be wedge. It could be, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, but listen, I think that those final 4 holes will be the true indicator. And I think when after Monday and we look at the scores, that'll be the first thing I look at. Okay, this guy shot 72. What did he do in the last 4? Mm-hmm. Oh, he went par, bogey, bogey, bogey coming in. Okay. Because I think that's where the teeth of the golf course is
those finishing holes. So we're going to see a lot of movement. And at LACC for the U.S. Open, that was it too. They talked about those finishing holes where, they had 500-yard par 4s rolled up there. You're going to have to play those to par to be. You're saying the same thing here, that these last 4 holes are going to be. You could be leading, and it could fall apart on these
very quickly.
Okay, interesting. What is the signature hole? You mentioned the walk or the ride from 16's green, and I got Google Maps pulled up here so I can understand why you're kind of going out into the river and coming back to the teeing area. Oh, here's the tee boxes there. I mean, those are practically in the river, those tee boxes. So I get that, but what is the signature hole on the course to you? What's the best, if you're a spectator going to watch, where do you want to watch it from? What hole do you want to see? Where is there going to be the most action in again, one spot on the course?
Well, there's not many spots where you're going to stand and see multiple holes in a sense. Like it is kind of like, I'm not saying it's tree line by any stretch, but like on the front 9, you're not really seeing many things go on that's going to be back-to-back holes. Like I still think like if I'm looking for one, if me personally, if I'm going to camp out at one spot, I'm going to camp out on the hill on the right side of 16's green because I can see all the shots coming into 16. I can see people walking down 17. I can see them hitting their second shots into 17. I see the river directly behind me. And I may be able even to sniff some things going off 13's tee box. Like to me, that spot across the street is a hard spot to not put my seat down
16.
And just watch. 16.
Is this on the other side of the water? There's like a little creek that kind of runs here.
Yeah, it's on the right side there.
Okay.
It's up by the green. Like it's about right around the waist area.
Just looking at Google Maps here, it doesn't look like a hill. It just looks like a marsh area to me.
Yeah, there's a little hill up there that you can probably camp. I mean, that would be my spot.
Okay.
But
again, I don't know if we could get a better course to talk like this, since you have so much knowledge of this course. I feel like this has turned into an interview of you of the course, but I think that's great insight, and maybe some guys will listen and heed some advice. Without putting any names, anyone reach out to you that we know? Any of our guys say, hey, what are your thoughts here? Can we talk about the course?
Maybe.
Okay. Here you go. If you are listening to this, give Mike a call. He is doing half an hour reviews of the course with you to talk the course through. You're doing it on Zoom, Google Maps, $50 for the 30 minutes. Right? Mike's phone number is 732. Give him a call, and certainly...
You put that number out there, and some poor person that has that cell phone number is going to be like, why are you calling me?
I know for a fact nobody has that cell phone number.
I would not put that... I'll call it right now. Some poor lady's going to answer and be like, can I help you? And I'm like, yeah, this guy from the Drop Podcast told me to call you.
He's looking for Mike Poro, and he'd like his 30-minute review of the course. Mike, that's good stuff. I appreciate you kind of let me pepper you with some questions here about it. I think it's super interesting, and being that it's one of the New Jersey majors, I think obviously it's a huge deal, and having it at a course that you know so well just gives us some really valuable insights. So hopefully you guys listening got some stuff out of it. So breaking news here, before we send you to Austin, Ricky Fowler has won the Rocket Mortgage Classic in a playoff over Colin Morikawa and Adam Hadwin. Mike and I are recording on Sunday, so that's pretty big news. That's happening live right now. I said it last week. I would not be surprised with Ricky, or not last week, a couple weeks ago now for the Open, and he didn't disappoint, but now he's coming back to win. Mike, he's got to have enough points for the Ryder Cup now at that, right?
Bro, he sprays his tee shot, okay, into the gallery. He then fires a dart. He then fires a dart to 8-10 feet below the hole. Game, set, match. Your boy, Ricky Fowler.
Let's go.
Mustache and all. Rocking the orange.
Is he back? Is he wearing orange?
Oh, orange, bro. He's got his Puma orange. First time winning since, 2019?
Something like that. Since he got married, I think.
2019, it says.
He got married in 19, so.
He makes the putt, and the sigh that he gives out is just like, let's go. Kudos to Butch Harmon for fixing him.
Yeah. That guy can fix anybody except for Charles Barkley. But
maybe you.
Can we get Butch on here to help me? All right, so that's it for us here. I know we were heavy on the New Jersey Amateur, but again, as we've said, that's a major tournament for New Jersey and a big deal here for golfers. So hopefully you got something out of it. We're going to send you to our interview with Austin now. Again, Austin and Mike were partners at the New Jersey 4-Ball. They've worked together for a long time. They know each other. You guys are going to enjoy this interview. So make sure you stick around. Enjoy it. Cheers.
All County Exteriors is a third-generation premier exterior home remodeling company celebrating over 40 years in business. In a remodeling world where the average remodeling company only survives in business for only 5 years, All County Exteriors has stood the test of time, providing their customers with top-quality roofing, siding, windows, and doors. They service homeowners and builders with anything from small repairs to large additions. All County Exteriors is not just limited to construction. They have a deep passion for giving back to their community and are charitable supporters of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the American Cancer Society, Roofs for Troops, and Parents of Autistic Children. If you have planned to do any exterior remodeling, call the experts at All County Exteriors for a free, no-obligation estimate for your project. Just call 732-370-2780 or email them at info@allcountyonline.com. That's 732-370-2780 for All County Exteriors for all your remodeling needs. Okay, so today's guest is a household name in New Jersey golf. Our guest today is Austin Devereux, a Manasquan High School graduate. He went on to play collegiate golf at Ryder. He is also the 2020 New Jersey State Golf Association's amateur champion. He won the 2021 and 2022 MAC Individual Tournament Championship. He's currently working as Director of Outside Operations at Manasquan River. Austin, thank you for coming on the show here today.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure, Austin. Thanks for jumping on.
So, Austin, let's kind of get started here. Obviously, you and I have a very good friendship, and I'm sure Ryan wants to dive into some specific things here. But why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey from, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but maybe like not the most successful high school kid in terms of like winning tournaments and going low, but then maybe being a late bloomer to where you are now a guy in New Jersey golf that when people say your name, they know who you are.
Mm-hmm. So actually, back in my freshman year in high school, I played fall soccer. I was actually a bowler in the winter as well. I've always been an active kid, played baseball my whole life. And then it came to the point actually my freshman year in high school where I needed to make a decision between golf and baseball. And the head coach, Vince Junko at the time, who was a PGA professional, he's now working for Vic Gerard and is working with Golf Kings as well, indoor simulators around the Jersey Shore area. He told me in the beginning, you're crazy if you did not play golf. And, I kind of just went out there, played my whole life. Didn't really think much about it in high school, just went out there, had fun. Would shoot a couple over par, be happy about it, go home, talk to my parents and whatnot. And then, senior year was able to, pull out a state championship win. And I think that really set the tone for me of, thinking about playing college golf. And, if you want me to, I could get into, how that start of like the college search happened. It's actually kind of a funny story.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that, because if you're not deciding to play college golf until late senior year after winning the state tournament, we got to hear that.
So, my freshman I've been the type of, I was growing up playing golf. I wasn't able to play, and I'm a local kid. I'm from Rio, New Jersey. I basically grew up teaching myself, besides the, 4 lessons a summer when I was 6 to 8, where my aunt would bring me to Manasquan River, and Brad Olson, who used to be the head golf professional at Rumson, and even Vince Junko, they used to teach me when I was a 6 to 8-year-old kid here. And, didn't think anything of it, but going to picking that college, I started to email these schools around the country, Division II, Division III, just with the same attitude that I had, where I could just be like, I could just go play golf and have fun and make the team. Emailed a couple Division I programs. I'm not going to say the names, but one of the emails I got back was actually quite funny. And it goes back into after I won the state amateur, what I mentioned in the news article. One of the Division I coaches told me that I wasn't good enough to play Division I golf, and that I'd be better off to go play it at a Division III level down south.
Wow.
And again, the score.
That's bulletin board material.
Yeah.
As I said, the tournaments, and I think that also is a thing when it comes to Division I golf, not playing in any of the NJSGA, and I would just play in 3, NJ, junior tournaments throughout the summer, and would, shoot 74, 75, 76. I didn't really have anyone that believed in me. So I kind of got to the point where I was a little discouraged about even playing, because I wanted to stay local. And then my mom, sister, and myself went out to TCNJ, and we actually just kind of stumbled on Rider University. We just drove by because they're basically neighbor universities. And we took a tour, And I shot an email out and I was like, I like this university. Maybe I can have a chance of playing here. And within the next week, I had an interview with Jason Berry, who is the college coach at Rider University and the teaching professional at Springdale in Princeton. Had a meeting, and first thing that came out of his mouth was, how's it going? Looked at your swing videos and whatnot. You have a roster spot in the team if you want, and just jumped right on it.
That's a lot easier than the other.
Only offer I got was from Jason at Rider. I didn't get any other offers from any other program.
And just by seeing your swing video, like he was just
swing video is, and one of the things. So the NJ, it's the Rutgers Invitational. It's one of the junior tournaments that I believe they still have. They do one round at Rutgers, and then they do the second round at Springdale. I happened to win that event my junior year summer, going into my senior year of high school, and I shot 72 at Rutgers and then shot 66 at Springdale. And every year Rider plays in the Springdale Invitational, which is Princeton's home event. And it's in the beginning of every spring. And I think that definitely helped. But also from, my coach likes to go off of video footage a lot. And, he doesn't he believes in what he sees primarily. And he took a shot, and, it was,
it worked out.
It worked out.
Yeah, it worked out for both of you.
Yeah, seriously. I like that, because if he's looking at your swing, not your scores. And as Mike said, a bit of a late bloomer, because you work hard at Manasquan. I assume you grew up caddying there, and and doing that sort of, working in the bag room, that sort of thing. And then, but not a country club kid, just, you said, like, kind of self-taught minus a couple lessons when you were younger. So not real polished like some kids are from our area going out and in that junior, senior year.
Yeah.
And as Mike said, a bit of a late bloomer. So that coach sees your scores and might pass you up because you're shooting 75, 76 in some tournaments, but sees your swing and goes, okay, I can work with that. That's a swing I can work with, or we can make these changes, and he's going to turn into a really good golfer. So that's a nice, like you said, it's a kind of funny story, a nice story there.
Yeah. He's always been that guy that's always believed in me, for sure.
Everybody needs one of those guys in their corner.
100%.
So, Austin, I'm glad that we got you. I know we want to talk about the New Jersey Open at Manasquan. What's at Manasquan this year?
State Am.
The State Am.
State Am.
I know Mike's going to want to get into that, but I want to get into your time at the 4-ball up at Hamilton Farms with Mike. And I think I want to start hearing your side of the story as Mike's interviewing Jim Nance.
Yeah.
What's that like from your side? We'll get into the nitty gritty, but let's start with the hard hitting questions first. Let's talk about that.
So, we both went into it, obviously, when you guys talked about it on the podcast with Jim. I went into that course blind, and I just wanted to make match play, and see where we could go from there and try to make a run. But once Mike told me after we qualified, said that he has an interview tomorrow with Jim Nance during when we're going to be playing, I was like, all right. So hopefully we're not 3 down when that's happening. But it just was wild, after the 9th hole when, we were, up front by a decent amount. And next thing you know, we're walking down the fairway and Mike just flips his phone at me and it's Jim Nance. I'm like, that's pretty darn cool. And then just walks up, no practice swing, hits it to 40 feet. We're up there and he just gives me a little signal while talking to Jim and is just like, where do you see this? Point a spot out and then just drains it. And these guys are looking at him just like, really? Like, not only are we already 6 down, but this guy just made a 40-footer on top of us while talking to, a legendary broadcaster.
Right. Not even like while taking a phone call. Like, it's not like he was conducting business out there. He's talking to the voice of golf while nailing a 40-foot putt. And I think Mike needs that. To be honest, Mike's golf game, he needs to think less and just do more. Almost like from I Love You Man, where he's like, no, you're just do less. And he just kind of gets up off the surfboard. Like, point to a spot, Mike, hit it to that spot.
Yeah, and I mean,
Exactly.
I can't lie. I felt like I putted awfully. Like, it was probably the worst display of putting in the history of the world. And the fact that the one time I throw the AirPods in and I have our own like CBS on-course interview, I freaking make the putt. Whereas I have 5 footers for birdie the rest of the day, and it doesn't even sniff the goddamn hole.
Next time we ever get Jim Nance back on, we'll have him on for a 4-hour podcast so Mike can make the putts.
So Mike can go set the course record somewhere.
Yeah.
It was really cool because how we record, like those little blocks that Mike had, it records locally. So as I'm cutting it, I hear everything that Mike's doing. So I hear him, even though he was on mute with the interview, I hear him talking to you and him like the little like just the grunt while he hits a shot. You can hear the ball hitting. So it was like I could follow his round while I was editing it. It was really pretty funny.
But to go talk about the event, though, I will say this is, Austin can really golf his golf ball because, we've talked about this a lot that, I can get it around, but there's always the next level. And there's no doubt that, he was the horse the whole time that we were out there. And I was just the jockey holding on at times for dear life. But I think, obviously Austin can speak a little bit more about the event itself, but, I said to Austin, hopefully he invites me back.
That's actually what I wanted to get into next, Austin. As the guy who is the horse in your pairing, and every pair has that, unless both people are the exact same handicap. How did you go into this 4-ball knowing that you were going to have to do the majority of the heavy lifting, having with Mike as your partner? What's like your mindset, I guess, going into this?
I mean, so this is the best part with a format like that. I mean, it's the second 4-ball I played in. The first one I played was with Connor McKeffey at Manasquan River, and we both 3-putted the last hole to miss out on match play, which stunk. But with playing, especially at a course like Hamilton, it's an elite golf course where you could host any championship there, in my opinion. Like you guys talked about after with the podcast with Jim before discussing it briefly, they had a USGA Open local qualifier there, and the scores were relatively on the higher side. But as far as, playing with Mike, it's just about, it's taking it seriously, but having enough fun where you guys can laugh and, still manage your golf game around. But I mean, my goal each day was to kind of go in there and make, 3 to 5 birdies in match play. Because that you'll usually win 3 at least with 3 birdies.
That's fair. My goal for this summer is to have 3 birdies. So that's a little different. I mean, we have 2 different golf games.
And I'll be honest with you.
The other thing.
Go ahead, Austin.
The other thing too, with how the course played, I don't think the course could have played better for your game. Like, it was firm. Like, obviously, like, you hit the ball on a lower trajectory with a little, 5-yard draw. It's low spin, and with how firm it was with everything, you were able to, get some extra distance, I feel, rather than playing at like a South Jersey course where it's a little bit, more wet. And then on top of it, with your wedge play, you actually you pick the ball and hit it high, which for, the way it was set up with how firm the greens were, I actually think you had an advantage over some of the players there that, actually strike down and hit wedges a little bit a little bit lower. Like myself, like that's usually what I do. I'll try to, flight something in there. And when greens are that firm, it's going to take a big hop and check up. But when you're hitting it as high as you were picking the ball, I think, you're able to hit a lot of those shots close.
And I think as evident by I think Mike even said it, he was shocked at how helpful he was for the first couple rounds of it.
Mm-hmm.
How he helped out a few times, making a par so you could go at a birdie, that, even that sort of thing. But he even said to me, he was a little surprised at how helpful he was out there.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, even in that final match, like, the back nine was pretty special to watch. It was so back and forth. I don't think I've ever gotten that intense as far as like motivated to win in that second round. I'd say, Mike, the biggest thing which will haunt us is that second hole in that second match. I still think about it now,
Yeah, I butchered it.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no two ways around it. I mean, they are slapping the ball all around the golf course. I'm greenside, and I legitimately just need to make a bogey.
Yeah.
And I completely butcher. And I think, and I think that's kind of what really separates, what I think, like someone like me who can hit the ball around and I can go low, but I can also shoot 83. So like, to me, like, I think that's what separates guys like me and guys like you, where, in that situation, all I got to do is make a 6 at the very least. Hell, you probably can get up and down or even chip the damn thing in.
Yeah.
Where like my mindset is not there because I don't play, nor am I good enough to really say like, all right, here's what you got to do. Don't worry about the negative. Let's focus on the positive. Let's just go execute the thing. And I think that's where the difference of players of your caliber and mine are at the end of the day. And listen, I think about that a lot because it's not even so much that hole, it's that match, because like anything, I'm probably one of the most competitive people out there, and I just can't stand losing more than anything. And you always say like, man, what if? Like, what if? Like, could you have really won that? Like, did you really have a chance? And I still, to this day, say like, I think we really did.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even if I'm able to find my ball on 2, I would say that I'm probably making 6 at worst.
So what happened on 2? Is 2 a par 4, par 3?
It's a par 5. So it's a dog leg left. The tee that we were playing was actually slightly up in the second match. Mike was just in like the right rough, not in much trouble. So I took a more aggressive line, tried to get it over the bunker, and I pulled it a little bit. And then, we were just expecting to be just in the left rough or even in the bunker. And we got up there and, we weren't able to locate the golf ball. So I was in my pocket, which kind of sucked. And then,
you thought you should be in a certain area. You hate when it like vanishes like that.
Yeah. I mean, and again, like it is what it is. It's golf, things happen where, you get down there and you can't locate the ball. It is what it is, but.
Were there any kangaroos out there? That's a movie reference, Mike. I know you don't get it.
Way over my head.
But then I mean, the biggest thing is, I mean, we were, Mike had a big 2-putt on 17 for us to go 1 up. And then, I hit an awful drive on 18 left and I had nothing. And then the one kid just that, didn't really do anything on the back 9, just came up and just stuffed a 9-iron to a difficult pin to like 4 feet. And there was nothing that Mike and I could do about it. And then, I mean, I just feel like on the on the 19th hole and extras, I didn't make the right play. I should have just went for the middle of the green rather than trying to go at it, because I was kind of blocked out by the tree on the right side. Because I didn't realize both of their balls were about 30 feet away too. So 4 probably would have gotten us to the 20th hole.
Yeah, and I think back to that 19th hole because I went long with my wedge because I hit a decent drive down the left center or left first cut and left rough. But everything was all my wedges all day, Rye, were just spinning and coming back. Like I couldn't get the ball to stay where it landed. And on the 18th hole,
and to Austin's point, you put it high and it's
right.
And
so
it's
on our 18th hole, we're 1 up. And I hit a good drive and I hit a good second shot. It just spun.
Oh, so good.
So damn much down the slope that I end up going from maybe 15 feet to now I'm off the green pitching to a tough pin.
And I was talking to, I remember I was talking with Jeff Carswell about that. And and Jeff was mentioning that there's a false front there that you just.
Yeah. I thought I had carried it. So then when I got to the 19th hole, I said, okay, I'm going to take a little more club here because I don't want it to spin all the way back. And I caught it, I guess, too good that it hit the green. And the greens were hard. It hit, like Austin said, and just shot over the back. And there was no shot. My fucking short game was getting me up and down. But listen, I think at the end of the day, I had a great experience being out there. There's no doubt when you're in that competitive environment and you're with a partner like that you know that, like, hey, if I make a par, if I make a bogey, like, he's there to pick you up.
Mm-hmm.
So listen, I had a great time. It was a lot of fun. Listen, we had a couple caddies out there with us from Manasquan River, so it was a fun day.
It was great.
So Austin, let's break the news now. Will Mike be your partner next year?
100%.
Oh, I like that.
It was a lot of fun.
Mike, put it on the calendar now.
Yeah. Listen, I had a blast. I said to Austin, listen, I can't thank him enough for allowing me to be his partner. I know, we had tried to do this 2 years ago, but, fortunately for him, he moved on to the NCAA tournament. So he wasn't able to play. So, it was a good day. We had fun.
That's rather big time.
Yeah, big time. Yeah. Much more important than that event. But what else did you have? Can I move on to the next thing, or do we
I was just gonna
start stepping on us while we're still down over there?
No, I'm gonna run. I just wanted to say, Austin, thanks for jumping on. I'm sorry, I gotta run, and hopefully we'll see you out there.
All good. 100%. Thank you.
All right, guys.
Yeah, pal.
Enjoy. Take care.
All right, so Austin, let's dive into the 2020 State Am. I think for a lot of people, I felt like more or less that was like your coming out party. Obviously within Monmouth County, the Shore Conference area, like, people knew who you were and the type of things that you were capable of. But there's also a different level, like we've talked about. Like, once you get to that level, like, can you get to the next one? And I think winning the State Am at Arcola, nonetheless, with your final round 69, and I know Chris, the head pro at Manasquan River, says amazing things about Arcola itself, and it may be one of his favorite courses outside of Manasquan River. Like, why don't you talk a little bit about that tournament and how you feel like that kind of projected you to where you are now?
Yeah. So, basically, I have a funny story to tell you after we go through this about it. So, in my freshman sophomore year in college, there was a couple times, I had a couple top tens, but when it came down to like the final couple holes, I always, just made a silly mistake, and just it took me from second or third to like eighth, and my coach just kept telling me, he's like, it's gonna come eventually. Like, swinging it really good. I was swinging it probably the best I've ever swung it in my life going into that event. And I kind of I went in there blind, and I just went out there and just played my game, got comfortable with it. I birdied all the holes that I needed to birdie. And then the final round came where I was 3 shots behind the leader, and we were driving up there at 5:15 in the morning. with my parents. And, I remember my mom told me, she was freaking out already. Because I've never been in a position like that before in a tournament that big. And, she told me to just go out there and have fun. And that's kind of what I did. I went out there and got off to a great start. I was paired with Dean Grazerman, who's an unbelievable player in New Jersey. I believe he just started. I think he just had his freshman year at Stanford this year.
He did. It's funny story you say about him because I played with him at the State Open last year.
Yeah, he's a great. He is talk about. He's got power. That kid.
Oh yeah, my God.
I'm sitting there on the first tee. He rips driver out and hits it 25, 30 yards by me, and I'm just like, oh, all right.
Yeah, and you don't. It's not like you bunt it like I do.
But yeah, he kind of set the toner. I mean, he went out there and birdied one off the rip, and then birdied three, and he was in the lead. And he birdied 1 and 3, and then I had like a 15-footer for birdie on 3, and I made that. And then that kind of kicked me into gear where I'm like, okay, like, it's going to be a shootout. And then birdied 4, and, just kind of, it just went back and forth from there. And then the 14th hole came, and this is cool too. So 14, it's 10 is the par 4. You got par 3 is 11, 12 par 5, 13. 13 is a short par 4. Yep. They made it drivable, water right, and I never even thought about hitting driver. I just was like, all right, I'm going to hit a stinger hybrid, proceeded to hook it left, and we're looking for it for about a minute and a half. And my mom has always been a lady in these tournaments where she's always on the next hole. Like when I played in conferences every time, she would take more photos and more videos of the magnolia trees and the rivers and the alligators and animals out there than she would of me playing golf, because she gets so nervous out there. And I think it was one of the only times where she was actually on the hole that I was playing. And then about 40 yards in front of where we were looking, she goes, I have a ball here. And it was my ball. And we were about a minute and a half on the timer. So if I don't find that ball, one, I don't win. Well, if she doesn't find that ball, one, I don't win. But then, Dean hit it over the green, and I hit the lie wasn't great. I hit it to the middle of the green by about 40 feet. And Dean kind of they didn't really scold. He kind of just hit it a little thin over the green, and they're like a really easy, like gettable up and down spot. And he chips it in to tie me. And I'm looking at my caddy, one of my high school teammates. I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, we got some golf left. And then I just happened to just walk up there and aim right at the pin and just bash it. And it goes right down the heart. And that's kind of where my whole mentality and motivation completely flipped. And, just absolutely had confidence throughout the stretch, and was able to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at some of the names on that leaderboard that day, like I pulled it up, and like, you beat Dean Greiserman, a big time golfer. Mark Costanza, household name. We can go on and on. Michael Brown, like these names that are all around the leaderboard. And to get that done for your first victory with those names around, because just like anything, there's added pressure because you haven't won one. And you got these guys that are right behind you who have won them before. Like, finding a way to seal the deal there. And really in those last 2 rounds to go 68, 69, like, just definitely catapulted you into an area of self-belief that, hey, listen, like, next time I'm in these situations, like, I know I can get it done.
Totally. Yeah, that's all. I mean, and that's all it takes, even for like, young players around the Jersey area. Once you get that first big win, anytime you get into self-doubt or anything on the golf course where you're losing hope or you're not feeling your game's there or anything like that, can always go back in your head and just, tell yourself, well, I've been here before and I've done it. So, don't get down on yourself, like, there's never a time where you're out, out of an event, where unless you tell yourself you are.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think that's one of the things that we've harped on, because we get a lot of, DMs from high school kids asking questions like that. And when we get guests like yourself on and others, they harp on the mental side being such a huge part, because, like high school kids, and we were all there at one point, we're very immature and everything is the end of the world. If we free putt, the putter's broken, we're throwing the clubs. But I think when you're able to mature a little bit and step back and look at it, you're like, wow, okay, it's one hole, it's one putt, there's X amount left. Like, let's go find a way. So yeah, there's no doubt the mental side is huge. And getting your first one obviously definitely gives you that experience moving forward, which leads me into next week. Like, obviously, when the state am at Manasquan River, like, your spot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've got to be licking your chops saying, like, I can do this here. I mean, no offense, besides maybe Jack and some others that are playing in the tournament, like, no one's got to know the damn golf course better than you.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I've been playing here, I mean, they used to have New Jersey junior tournaments here when I was, US kids tournaments. I was like 7 years old. But yeah, I mean, obviously the course has changed a lot, and all these amateurs are going to see it. But for myself, it's just going to be, and Dimmick said the same thing back last year when the section championship was here. It's just go out and just play your game. Like, the golf course. It's definitely a benefit that it's my home club, and I know everything about it, and whatnot. So that's definitely gonna help me. But the biggest thing for me is I'm just gonna, like, there's gonna be a lot of members out there. It's gonna be like it's home turf. But for me, I'm trying not to put extra pressure on myself. It's a different scheduling for practice and everything like that with the job and whatnot. It's not like it used to be at college where I'd wake up, do an hour of homework, and then be on the golf course from 10 a.m. until 4 o'clock at night. So I just got to be able to manage my game the right way, play myself around the course like I would, and every practice round that I come out here and do, and just go have fun. That's the biggest part.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's definitely pros and cons to what Chris has said about it being at your home course. Like, the pros is, it, you got tons of support there. Everybody is rooting for you. But then the cons, like you said, is the pressure. Like, I know the course, and as much as I can be a pro, the con is like, are you serious? I've never hit it here on 8 in my life, and the one time I hit it here is in this tournament. Like, those are the types of things that I can see being a con in terms of it. But, like, how do you see balancing, like, now, obviously you have a job and you have adult responsibilities, like you just said. Like, how do you figure the time management aspect of it, and then preparing yourself for such a major event?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, I have to give a big thanks to Chris Dimmick, the head pro here. When I took the job over, he said the biggest thing that he doesn't want to see happen is my golf game or my golf, personality or anything like that to go in shambles. He said, play golf, you can play in the tournaments, and the membership also backs all that up. They like seeing me, hitting some balls in the range. Like, they'll come up and talk to me how I'm hitting it. They like seeing me play golf. They like, just, asking the questions. Like, that's what they all love to hear. And they all support it. And that's the biggest, and that's one of the reasons why I love this place so much. And it's why I've never left. And when I started caddying here when I was 14 years old and started working bag room when I was 16, it's just like, it's home. Not only is it in the town of Brielle, which I grew up in, but everyone here has just always been, phenomenal, treating me like almost like their own kid. That's how this place makes me feel. It's just one big family. And I say it to everybody, I can't appreciate everything that everyone has done for me here at the club. all my staff, all my whole staff, they always support me. Members, Chris, and all the assistant professionals inside the shop as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think when I spoke to Chris, and when Ryan and I had him on back in, I guess it must have been December at this point, I credited him with that being such a family atmosphere. Like you, listen, I've been caddying there since I'm 13. I'm 39 now.
Mm-hmm.
So like I've seen the ins and outs and the ups and downs and the many people that have come in and out of those doors. But there hasn't been someone like Chris who's made it a family atmosphere that has kind of made you feel like one of your own. And I credit him a lot with that, and I think that reflects in the people that he has hired, the people that have stayed, that are people that are still there, that people have moved on to different things, and I think like his tree, in a sense, is when it's all said and done, is going to be in so many different spots from branching out to this or that. There's no doubt he gets a lot of credit with that.
Yeah, he's, I mean, one of the best in the state, if not the best. He's done so much for this club as far as events go. I mean, we just had our father child last week, and it's awesome seeing, how many members here, bring their kids, bring their wives and whatnot. And it's an awesome place to work at, for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Now as you project ahead and you look, say, maybe what's a 5-year plan for Austin Devereux? What do you see? Like, so I guess, my question is like, looking ahead to your future, what are some things that you may see yourself? Do you see yourself in that chair for 20, 30 years? Like, what is potentially something that you're looking for down the road?
No, so this is not going to be a long-term gig. When I came out of college, I did a master's degree. When I came out, I kind of just was like, I'm going to caddy, work backroom for a summer, make a little bit of money and just kind of like breathe, get away from the whole college golf aspect, playing all the tournaments, and most importantly, just have like a fun summer, and then get into the fall and, figure out what I want to do. And then the position opened up, and I just was like, I don't have a, goal yet or know what I want to do. So, this is going to give me a great opportunity to be able to, still play, still practice, still be able to play in all these events. And I get to stay local with my family and whatnot. So long term, I still have no idea. Right now we're 9 days away from our Bristol, our every year member guest. So, I'm pretty focused on that right now in my own head. But I was a marketing and sport management major in college, and then went and did a master's degree in athletic leadership. So coaching is definitely something that I'd like to do in the future. Not sure where, if it would be for golf or anything like that. Probably in my later years. But at the moment, I still have no clue, Mike.
Hey, listen, and that's honest, and I think that's what people can relate to, is that sometimes you just don't know, and I know in the world we live in, everybody's like, you got to have a decision, like, what are you doing? What's the next step? But sometimes the true answer is like, I don't know yet, and thankfully for someone like you in the position you're in, you're able to still work a full-time job and still do the things you love when it comes to the game of golf. So it's honest and it's real, and there's nothing wrong with that.
For sure.
Yeah. So there's a couple questions that Ryan and I like to end this thing on, and I always go first before he does, but I'm still tossing his two at you.
Alrighty.
But my question that I kind of normally end here with is like, obviously our goal, Ryan and I, is as golfers here in the Garden State, is like to travel the state, to play golf, talk golf, and enjoy it as much as we can. Is there a certain course in the area, both a public and a private, that you would tell the audience, hey, listen, if you get an opportunity to go play this public spot, you got to go do it. And then when it comes to the private side, like, you got to drop what you're doing and you got to go. Now, before you answer, Manasquan River's out because it's your home spot. So that's the bias out. And the other private that's out is Pine Valley, because I know that you've been fortunate to step on the grounds there. But the vast majority of us, we're just going to have to keep vicariously living through people like you to get on that spot. So do you have a public and a private that you'd recommend?
So public for me, I'm going to take Hal Park out of that as well because it's biased with high school. I would have to say Eagle Ridge. I think I think Eagle Ridge's links golf course, that 9 holes is one of the best 9-hole experiences that you can have at a public golf course in the state. Um, and even the other 2 9s, I mean, the Pines and
The Ridge.
the Ridge are both phenomenal. I mean, if you went out there and play, like, it's a perfect day if you go out there from dusk till dawn or whenever, and you say, I'm playing all 27, you're going to go home that night and be like, this for a public golf course is phenomenal. Like, you could play that course any way you want, and you'll never regret anything about it. Private's tough because I've been very fortunate to be able to play a lot of these really good clubs.
Someone extends you an invite, and you gotta say, I'm going. I'm never getting this invite again. I gotta go do it.
I'd say Bayonne. I think Bayonne is one of the true. I played Bayonne a couple years ago. I think it's one of the truest links golf courses that I've ever played in it's probably the only, like, because it's probably the truest links style golf course I've played in the country. It's just everything about it, the views, the city in the background. You just get this whole feeling that, even the clubhouse, it's an old lighthouse. Like, everything about it is just so perfect and mint. So I would definitely say Bayonne.
It's so funny you say that because I say on this podcast so many times, like, that is my number one spot that I want to play that I've never played. And I throw this out there all the time. Like, hey, listen, I'll pay my own way. I'll pay the caddy. Like, I don't care. Like, I want to play that spot more than any other, just because of the same reasons that you said.
Yep. And it's one of those golf courses too that's like just total experience. They got the range in the water. The parking lot is probably the size of my office. You pull in, you're just like, whoa, like one of those breathtaking views at the top. Like, every single bit of it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, that's honestly what I see. It's what I read, and that's why I keep throwing it out there. Like, hey, listen, if you need a fourth, Mike Porter's available. So the other question that Ryan likes to end with is this one, and I got one after this, but I think I know the answer. But all golfers, I think, are a little superstitious by nature. We have X amount of tees that we put in our pocket. We use something specific here. I even know some of the pros. Chris Dimmick doesn't like to tie his shoes before he gets started. Like, do you have any weird quirks or what some people like to call habits before you get going?
I mean, I'll tell you something that's kind of weird is when I won the State Am in 2020, I wore the same outfit every round.
Every round?
I obviously washed it. My mother took care of that, but I wore the same shirt, same shorts, same belt, same shoes every single round. If you go back, all 3 days.
Wow.
I don't do that anymore.
I did not know that.
My mom was just like, you played so good yesterday. I got to watch you played so good yesterday. You're not changing your outfit. I'm like, well, that's a little weird. And she's like, you're not doing it. I'm washing it right now. So then I'm like, all right. And then I shot 68 in the third round, and then I picked out an outfit for the final round. She's like, are you crazy? So it's funny.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I did not know that. I guess I just saw the pictures from the last day, and you just assume that you didn't wear the same thing. But man, that's an interesting little tick there.
The crazier thing is how I almost missed my tee time in the first round if it wasn't for Ethan Wall.
Wow.
I showed up at my tee time.
Right, straight to the first tee.
I didn't know, but I thought my tee time was 9:40. It was 8:40. I got there at 8:37, checked in, and the lady was like looking at me like I had 12 eyes. And Ethan was pulling up from the range and he was like, dude, where have you been? And I was like, what? We're in off in an hour. He goes, no, we're on the tee right now. And then I went over to the guy and I was like, I'm at 940, not 840. He goes, no, you're on the tee box right now. I went over, hit 2 putts, no warm up, and went out there and shot 73.
72.
72.
I honestly just pulled up. You were 1 under through 5. Maybe you don't need practice. Maybe we got to tell Chris, hey, listen, I don't need to practice.
That's what Dimmick does. Dimmick goes whenever he's playing, he hits 3 7-irons and walks to the first tee.
Gotta love it. And then obviously the last question here is, I think I know the answer, but like obviously in New Jersey, there's a nice debate about what that breakfast meat is called when you put it on a sandwich. What do you call it?
Pork roll.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
It's not, in my opinion, it's not even a debate.
Listen, I second that. And what we're learning on here is when we ask everybody that question, pending again where you reside, we know what the answer is. It was like, now we're learning that like, if you live here, you call it tailor ham. If you live down here, you call it pork roll. So I agree with you. I support that, and I back that. But listen, I appreciate you coming on here today. I appreciate you giving us a few of your minutes over there at Manasquan River. And listen, you're the odds-on betting favorite at the State Am. Your name is the one being tossed around as we expect to see your name on the leaderboard. And I'm not trying to add any more pressure to you, but I know I've seen it firsthand what you can do. And best of luck, and go get it done, pal.
I appreciate it, Mike. Thanks for having me on. Happy we were able to reschedule after the last mishap in December.
Sounds good, pal. All right, listen, enjoy work, and I'll talk to you soon.
Will do. You as well. Have a good one.
Yeah.